The persistent drought in New Mexico has taken a particularly heavy toll on the state's rural areas. As part of the ongoing water crisis in the West series, NMIF producer Megan Kamrick talked with a rancher and a farmer about their water management practices, as well as a river expert about what may happen with the Gila River as the state considers a huge and costly diversion project. The next and final water crisis in the West panel will look at the issue of privatizing the commons. It takes place June 26th at the Chemo Theater here in Albuquerque at 7 p.m.
Thank you all for joining us on New Mexico in Focus to talk about rural water issues. Stan Crawford is a farmer and author who lives in Dixon, New Mexico, where he runs El Bosque Garlic Farm. Sid Goodloe owns and operates the Carrizo Valley Ranch near El Capitan. And Steve Harris is director of Rio Grande Restoration and an authority on the Rio Grande, the Pecos, the Gila, and the Colorado rivers. Thank you so much for joining us. Stan, I want to start with you. At the Water Crisis in the West panel last night, you said an optimist knows how bad things are and a pessimist is just learning the truth. And you said you're an optimist. In the face of this water crisis, why are you an optimist?
Well, things obviously don't look good. There are so many different reports. I think starting with the Pentagon report during the Bush administration, which predicted the end of the Rocky Mountain meadow ecosystem, which is, of course...
That was from the Pentagon.
Yeah, and it came out during the Bush years, which was surprising. So anyway, and countless reports since then. And of course, what I've seen in the Embudo Valley and the Rio Grande. I came there at a time when we were, or shortly after we arrived, we got there in '69, but in the 70s or 80s we had a series of wet years, and that felt like normal after a while. But of course it wasn't, and things have been getting worse. This year I think is still up for grabs, I'm happy to say. We're seeing actually some runoff from the Embudo. We didn't see that at all last year.
So what kind of impacts are you seeing in the Embudo Valley, and what have you done in your own operation?
Well, I didn't farm for about 5 years during the worst drought anybody had seen. I was working on the farmers market project in Santa Fe. But afterward, I caught up with my younger colleagues and started using drip irrigation.
You were using flood irrigation before?
Before, yeah. Okay. And I was a staunch defender of flood irrigation because it's rather romantic to stand out there all day long with a shovel. And but
so you like open the acequia gate and it comes out?
Oh, right. And yet, but you have to be there. You have to be attentive to it. I didn't like the idea of, as I said many times, of kneeling in the dirt, fiddling with little bits of plastic. But it turns out that there are lots of advantages to drip. We can irrigate our little farm now from 1.5 inch pipe as opposed to 2 6-inch headgate pipes. You can run drip all the time. When I'm not there, I let it run on gravity. When I'm there, I have a pump to boost it. You can let it run all night. Things you can't do with flood irrigation. So you're using less water, but you're using it all the time. And there's a downside to that when there's a water shortage, obviously.
You've also put in a lot of solar to try.
Yes, yes. Well, that goes to the ultimate cause of our distress, which is carbon pollution, basically. And a way to mitigate that, of course, is to use renewable sources of energy, solar and wind. Solar, in our case, we have probably 3 different types of solar systems going.
Sid, I want to turn to you. You're in a completely different part of the state. You're El Capitan, you're a rancher. You said last night our watersheds in New Mexico are in a deplorable condition. And how did we get to that point?
Well, we got to that over the last 150 years because of a lack of understanding of a brittle environment by people who settled this country with too many sheep and too many cattle. They have now learned that their forefathers were wrong, and they've corrected that situation. And then, of course, fire suppression is probably the major cause. We have periodic droughts. I came here in the drought of the 50s, and believe me, it was worse than this one. So this one could get worse, of course.
For fire suppression, that means we now have more trees and they're taking up more water?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
And then you also mentioned beavers.
Well,
having beavers
I didn't
or getting
mention them last night because it wasn't an opportunity, but in our discussion before we came on the air, I made the statement that one of the greatest damages to the western United States was the trapping out of the beaver because of the, you used the term natural hydrology that the beaver provided. And it's gone now. And of course, beaver do a lot of damage. But what they did in the past, replenished our aquifers with they slowed down the water in all our tributaries, and the water went down into the aquifers. Now we have a solid mass of trees that are using the water before it gets to the aquifer. So the correction method is to thin the national forest. Most of our problem is on federally managed land. And the management in the past has been very lax. Now they're beginning to realize that Smokey may have done a little more damage than he did good in the past. There's certainly a place for Smokey to teach children to be careful with fire. But we have to reintroduce fire into our ecosystem, or we will have these disastrous fires more frequently every year.
Now, you've done a lot on your own ranch in terms of using fire strategically and taking out lots of trees.
Yes.
And reseeding natural grasses.
Right.
What has that impact been on your place?
Well, what we tried to do was to emulate the climax condition 150, 200 years ago.
What does that mean when it's a climax condition?
The climax condition was when nature was at its most productive stage. Okay, and most of New Mexico, except out on the plains, of course, was a savanna rather than a thicket of ponderosa or pinon juniper. And because of the abuse that occurred, we have on the eastern side a massive invasion of mesquite. On the western side, the same as sagebrush. And in the higher altitude areas, pinon, juniper, and ponderosa. And the only solution to that is to try to get it back like it was with periodic fire. Our area burned on the average of every 7 to 10 years. And now we get a fire every 100 years, it destroys everything.
Right.
So the only solution to that is to put some money in prescribed burning or thinning. And the Forest Service is finally beginning to realize that.
You've also introduced the ideas around Alan Savory, who actually founded Holistic Management International, which is based here, but rotational grazing, where
Yes.
which was different. How is that different than what was done, and why does it impact the land and the water?
Well, that method actually mimics the buffalo. When the buffalo came south in the winter, and they fertilized and cultivated the grasslands, and then they left it alone and let it grow back
So they're in one area for a while, they break it up,
for a short period, right?
there's manure on it, there's urine, and then they move on.
Right,
So you try to imitate
right.
that instead of keeping them all in one place.
That's right. And the early pioneers, they really couldn't do anything else but just leave the cattle where they were. They didn't have the money to fence. If they did, somebody'd cut it. So it was just year-long grazing, and that really is the thing that did the most damage.
Steve, I want to turn to you because you're thinking about river ecology all the time. What is happening in rural New Mexico? Because we hear a lot of talk of the looming battle, perhaps it's already here, between urban and rural in our state. And the idea often underlying all that is rural's going to lose out. And that's just the way it is.
Well, I'm a rural resident myself, but I'm also concerned about how sustainable is the growth that we're experiencing in the Southwest. And I think that, you know, it's an easy prediction to make that there's a growing urban-rural divide. On the other hand, both of these gentlemen are adopting practices that, like drip irrigation, like watershed improvement, that actually extend the supply of water. So there's a lot of opportunity in urban areas too, and urban per capita use is diving in New Mexico. So I think that the ballyhooed urban-rural water war, I think there's if we can continue to cooperate with folks in the city and see sustainable levels of growth and give some thought to the supplies are limited. We can't have everything we want all the time.
You are focusing a lot on the Gila right now, and tell us a little bit about what's going on, because the Interstate Stream Commission is looking to build a diversion on it, and what would that mean for the Gila, and are there other alternatives being considered?
The Gila, to me, is an emblem of our choices we're facing in the 21st century on the broad scale, how we deal with water. And so since about 1849, we develop water supplies. We construct things.
We engineer our way to
We
what we want.
engineer our way to a water supply. Water is not where we want it, we'll take it there. And right now on the Gila, the state has received a subsidy from the federal government. It's our payoff for our vote in favor of Arizona's Central Arizona project that got built in the 70s. And so with this approximately $93 million comes 14,000 acre feet of water that we haven't had before. Now you got to understand that the Gila River doesn't reach the Colorado River anymore, hasn't since 1985, and that was a one-shot deal. And so that water is all spoken for in Arizona. So in order for us to claim a new diversion project, we will have to compensate the Gila River Indian tribe up around Phoenix for Central Arizona water project water replacement. So the 14,000 acre feet that they've been taking out of the Gila, they'll stop doing that. They'll let New Mexico take it, and they'll get their water that they've traditionally used out of the Colorado through the Big Canal. So the
What's
money.
that going to look like when if
Well,
we're going to do this, if that comes to pass?
There's two preliminary engineering reports out. One's done by the Interstate Stream Commission, and it contemplates a diversion and blasting a tunnel and a 108-inch pipeline and a number of side canyon reservoirs. So it's an expensive project, and Norm Gaum, who was formerly the Interstate Stream Director, looked at this engineering and has discovered that this pipeline idea has fatal flaws. They haven't really contended with the sediment that the Gila River carries. So the pipelines could impact. The other preliminary engineering reports from Bureau of Reclamation, and Central Arizona's reclamation's project, so the feds are definitely in the mix here. They want to build canals on both sides of the river from a similarly located diversion dam, and they're going to run into problems too. I think if they build this, the first flood that comes down the Gila, like the one we had last fall, is going to either wash away these access roads and canals or silt them in.
So what's the alternative, and what does it mean for that rural area in the state if we don't do that and we do something else? What could be done instead of perhaps doing this giant engineering project?
This Arizona Water Settlements Act that gave us this money in water said that the money didn't have to be spent on building this engineering project. It could be spent on any water utilization alternative in the four-county area. And the four counties are Luna, Hidalgo, Grant, and Catron. So the Interstate Stream Commission invited any other local proponents of a project to bring in some projects. And so what was brought to the commission was about 100 projects. It's been winnowed down now to 13 that don't involve a diversion. And it's everything from sustainable groundwater management, encouraging more drip in the Mimbres Aquifer around Deming, building a regional water supply project in Grant County. And there are communities that are running out of water that need this sort of help, to watershed restoration, the sort of thing that Sid's done on a grander scale. I mean, we're talking about Gila National Forest, the Gila Wilderness, the Aldo Leopold Wilderness, where grazing occurred, fires were suppressed, over 1 million acres, and that's the headwaters of the Gila and of the San Francisco.
So have we changed at all our strategies or our outlook in terms of water to fit this new reality of less water? Because what you just described in terms of the engineering project sounds like something from the 1920s and the 1930s.
We've got 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future, and I'm hopeful that these past 4 dry years is kind of a wake-up call that we have to do more with less because we're getting less. We can't go into another river basin and pretend to develop their water and pipe it over. They need it as bad as we do.
Well, unfortunately, we're almost to the end of our time, but I want to ask you all, what you talked about some possible strategies for the future. One is an interesting cooperation that you're seeing, the Rio Chama collaboration?
It's actually the San Juan Chama partnership.
Oh, okay.
And this is initiated by private landowners that are doing work like I think on your model, really, Sid. And they've engaged the 2 state forestry. This straddles the line between Colorado and New Mexico. And so they're attending to watershed conditions, and they're looking for economic incentives to do this forest thinning. And one of the things that they're very hopeful of doing together is a biofuels plant in the Chama and Dulce area.
So do you see potential for more collaborations like that? Where we hear about these battles, ranchers versus environmentalists, urban versus rural, but is there common ground that we can find?
Yes, there is common ground when we when we think about the future and what this state's going to need in the way of increased water production. Then I think my suggestion is to the federal land managers, concentrate more on fire prevention than fire suppression, and get this thinning done with prescribed burning or whatever other method, and that's going to help the rural areas and the urban areas. So it's a collaborative effort between the public land managers and the permittees that can get this done, and I think we'll have that. It's getting better all the time.
All right, well, I want to thank you all for coming and talking with us about this.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
As always, all of us here at New Mexico in Focus appreciate your time and your effort to stay informed and engaged. Catch up with us anytime on social media by searching New Mexico in Focus. And don't forget to check out this week's web-only On the Clock topics. You can also find archived interviews and bonus material from our shows on our YouTube channel and at NewMexicoInFocus.org. I'm Gene Grant. We'll see you next week in Focus.